What's up gamers, Lecture here with the best Ball Lightning Sorcerer endgame build for Diablo 4. Patch 111 in Season 1 provided Ball Lightning with a generous buff, making it a viable build for the endgame. Ball Lightning Sorcerer has a melee playstyle with a circular area-based damage output from orbiting balls. These orbiting balls give the build some strict positioning requirements while also creating some interesting and fun gameplay mechanics. When compared to my previous Chain Lightning Sorcerer builds, Ball Lightning Sorcerer has some distinct advantages and disadvantages that I'll cover in this video. I highly recommend starting with my Chain Lightning Sorcerer builds first because it has an easier setup to solve any mana issues. Then you can start collecting gear and aspects for the Ball Lightning Sorcerer build and switch later if it suits you. Don't forget you can find all the details in my written guides for Sorcerer on Icy Veins. In this video, let's go over the key features of the Ball Lightning Sorcerer. The buff in patch 111 changed gravitational aspect from reducing ball lightning damage by 10% to increasing it by up to 25%. The difference in these idea rolls comes to a total damage increase of 39%, making this a pretty massive buff. Ball lightning has a better area of effect that hits all enemies within range compared to Chain Lightning's limited hits per projectile. The Barber Heart available in Season 1 provides both builds with additional AoE, but it really helps Chain Lightning more to overcome its biggest weakness of non-existent AoE. Therefore, Ball Lightning becomes more appealing for its built-in area damage if the Barber Heart is not available, like in the Eternal Realm. The orbiting bars constantly shift their area of effect as they rotate around the player, giving the Ball Lightning Sorcerer an interesting gameplay mechanic. The easiest way to play the build is to just spam Ball Lightning whenever appropriate, preferably when mana is above 100 to apply Elementalist Aspect for a capped crit chance to surround yourself in orbiting balls. This method works well enough for clearing groups of enemies or completing easy content, but if you really want to optimize DPS, you can stack the balls on top of each other for a powerful concentration of damage that I call the Death Ball. When casted, Ball Lightning appears on the side of the player that the cursor is at. Since the orbiting balls rotate around the player counterclockwise, you can run in that same direction around an enemy to keep the stacked death ball on top of them. This technique will take some skill and practice to execute. Although it isn't necessary to be this tryhard, the death ball can massively boost DPS against tough elites and bosses. In order to generate enough mana to keep casting Ball Lightning, Crackling Energy and a Resource Aspect is utilized. Prodigy's Aspect synergizes well in this build with 5 skill cooldowns to activate for mana gains. Another source of mana generation comes from absorbing Crackling Energy with Invigorating Conduit, which is formed from Wizard's Ball Lightning. Now onto the disadvantages of the Ball Lightning Sorcerer build, the most obvious being its melee range. Make sure you have all the damage reduction mentioned in my written guide, and actively make use of the cooldowns to survive the close combat. Another issue with Ball Lightning is that it despawns upon hitting solid objects like walls, so playing the build in areas with tight spaces or doors can be frustrating. And even though the build has good sustained DPS, it does take a while to ramp up the damage with multiple Ball Lightning casts. Check out the full details of my Ball Lightning Sorcerer build in my winning guide on Icy Veins, and join our Discord if you would like to chat. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel for my future D4 content. Ball Lightning Sorcerer against Uber Lilith is coming up next. Until then, peace out and happy slaying.